Let me particularly welcome Ms. Valenti here, who has been working to reduce domestic violence for a long time. Indeed, we owe you a hearty thank you for the work you did with then Senator Joe Biden to get the original Violence Against Women Act signed into law in 1994. I'm pleased that we were able to renew that accomplishment with a reauthorization 28 years later. Just foundationally, could you give us a quick overview about that process and what the passage of VAWA meant for women in America?
It was a huge change. Domestic violence had been considered a private family matter. And we began to see cases appear in the media that really started to illustrate that this is a problem for the whole community. And it's a danger and it's a drain on the resources of a whole community. The Violence Against Women Act, that as it was formulated back in 1994, was a comprehensive effort to work with law enforcement, courts, prosecutors, victim advocates, and survivors to come together with excellent local solutions. It started a whole wave of coordinated efforts to respond to domestic violence. I have to tell you that the view of domestic violence by prosecutors, courts, and law enforcement is so different from when I first began doing my work as a victim advocate. It has had a huge impact.
How well established in the science and research is the character of domestic abuse and violence as escalatory?
It's very well researched. And as a matter of fact, I had asked earlier for permission to include some additional information, which I've submitted, which are a number of research articles that will help explain that. But we do know that it's escalatory. We do know...
So it would be prudent to base public policy based on that established
published, peer-reviewed research that has been going on for decades.
You've pointed out that access to a firearm by a male abuser increases the risk of intimate partner murder by 1,000%.
That is drawn on actual information that we have. This is data that we know. These are police reports. These are convictions. This is information that has been pulled together and statistically analyzed. We know this.
So there's a factual predicate to take action once the escalatory incidence of domestic abuse begins in a relationship.
Yes.
And try to eliminate that or reduce that 1,000% greater likelihood of a murder by restricting the known abuser's access to a firearm, correct?
That's correct. And when we do know in the states where these laws have passed, there is, and again, you'll see that in the testimony that the written testimony that has been submitted by the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence and the appendices, that in states where this has been adopted, the homicide rate has dropped because it is preventive. I think that is an excellent way to describe it.
Indeed, in the 23 states, including my home state of Rhode Island, that have ex parte orders that prohibit gun ownership, there's been a 13% decrease across 23 states in intimate partner homicides, which, because there are so many of them, 13% times that ends up being a lot of actual lives that have been saved. Let me, as my time runs out, just respond to something that the ranking member said about Ms. Vanita Gupta and Ms. Kristen Clark, that they were both leading advocates of, quote, abolishing the police. I just want the record to reflect that the organization Fact Check looked at that precise allegation and did a very lengthy review, and here is their final word at the end of their review, that Vanita Gupta and Kristen Clark, quote, did not call for abolishing the police, and neither did every single Democratic member of the Senate. So with that, let me turn the hearing over to Senator Ossoff.